understanding Ayurvedic medicine and how it boosts the immune system.
Okay.
Would you like to introduce yourself to our dear listeners?
Yes, of course. My name is Suchita Vaswani. I was actually born in Lagos. I was brought up here. I went to school in the UK, and I have been married now for many years. Let me not give how many years away. I actually got into Ayurveda about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And I have been studying very hard since then to try and learn all the philosophies that I can possibly learn, and more to look after myself, actually. That was my priority, to learn how to look after myself and balance my own body. And I found myself in a situation whereby I love the philosophy so much that I decided that it was time to put the word out there a little bit.
Okay, so at this point, I'd like you to give us a background into the Ayurveda or Ayurvedic medicine. I can't wait, I'm so excited.
So Ayurveda is actually a science. Ayurveda means the science of life. So what you are doing is actually looking at life as a whole. And Ayurveda doesn't only look at the health of your body, not physical health, but it looks at mental health and emotional health. And it actually shows you how everything is all connected.
Okay. That's interesting.
Stemming from, yeah, that's the very first step. And, you know, there are two types of ways to look after yourself with Ayurveda. And the first and the most important is prevention, which we know prevention is better than cure. But prevention of any illnesses or any disease. And then should you find yourself in an issue, then cure as well.
Okay, thank you so much. So, what can you tell us what category of people should be seeking help from Ayurvedic practitioners?
So, to be honest with you, I never actually thought, even though I'm of Indian origin, and Ayurveda does stem from an Indian philosophy that started 5,000+ years ago. I believe that Ayurveda can be done, or you can use the science no matter who you are, because like I said, everyone, especially at a time like COVID like now, what we are trying to do is prevent illness. So the best way to do it is to look after yourself. So actually Ayurveda is for everyone. I think that you can cure anything with it, but rather than going to the issue of curing something, you can boost your immune system with the knowledge of Ayurveda. So hopefully you will prevent any illness from appearing in the body.
Okay. I'd like to ask again the outline of treatment approach for an average patient.
Well, of course, it depends a lot on what the patient is coming for. Okay, so I mean, it really depends on what kind of issue the person is coming with. But the way we do it in Ayurveda is basically we ask a lot of questions. So what we're trying to do is trying to find the root of the problem. Like, for example, if you go to a doctor, just a general doctor, GP, and say to them you have a headache, most doctors will say to you, here, take an aspirin or a paracetamol. Whereas an Ayurvedic practitioner would want to understand what the root of that headache is, where exactly it's coming from. So is it coming from the fact that you have been spending too much time on your screen? Or is it coming from the fact that, the weather has changed and it's a bit cold, and so your sinuses are blocked? There are different types of headaches, and based on the symptoms that we find and what the root of those symptoms are, we decide how to treat. I hope that makes it a little clearer.
Yeah. So it's very similar to
5 aspects. Sorry, go ahead. Very similar to?
I said so very similar to orthodox medicine.
Well, I mean, Yes, in some ways. So I think it's more similar to, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm no expert here, but maybe it's more similar to the root, the root of of medication, in that, like with the herbal doctors that you have over here.
Yeah.
How they treat with their local herbs. So they try and find out what is the root of the problem, and then they treat with the local herbs. So it's a very similar concept. We're trying to find out what the root problem is, and then you treat it based on that particular problem versus something general.
So let me just chip this in.
Yes.
So let me just chip this in. Is there a school for Ayurvedic medicine?
Yes, of course.
Oh, really?
There are many schools for Ayurvedic medicine. Many. I mean, there are Ayurvedic doctors. I myself, I'm a lifestyle consultant, okay? I'm not training to be a doctor. I'm training to be a lifestyle consultant. So based on different aspects of your life where we can help you make changes, that balances the elements in our system. So let's go back a little bit, okay? And let me explain the basis of Ayurveda. Ayurveda actually believes, the philosophy believes, that there was a merging of two energy forces at the beginning of time. Okay, so the male and the female. So what they say is, in basic terms, space, as in the element of space, and Mother Nature. Okay, so when space and Mother Nature comes together, the universe is formed. And from the beginning of time, elements are formed from that universe. So space, air, fire, water, and earth.
Right?
Okay. And the philosophy of Ayurveda believes that as human beings, we are made up of those 5 elements, as is the whole entire universe around us. And the main objective of Ayurveda is to be in balance to the nature around you. So what Ayurveda says is that your elements in your body should be in balance with the nature around you, thus proving that you are at your optimum and you are living your best life. So what happens is that when those elements go out of balance, that is when dis-ease, as we know, disease, comes about in the system. So suppose you have been exposed to the rain, since we are dealing with rain so much, and the rain has beat you, and you have got a cold in your body. Your body is now very cold, whereas generally over here the environment is quite warm. What you need to do is warm up your body so that you are at one with the nature around you. You'll start to feel better. So that is actually the main basis of what Ayurveda says, that you should be in balance with the nature around.
That's really simple. Simple to understand.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
When it's explained like that, it's actually, the philosophy is it's not simple. It's far from simple, because there are a lot of factors that are taken into account. But generally speaking, that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, thank you so much, Ra. So may I ask, are there areas of specialization in Ayurvedic medicine practices?
Yeah, of course there are. I mean, as with everything, there are. But again, Ayurveda treats from as simple to as complicated an illness as you want. Not only does it treat things like, prevention for corona, and a simple headache, or you've got bad skin, or you're having issues over here. Lots of people have issues with their hair fall, problems with their hair, the strength of their hair, weight gain, weight loss. Those are in fact things that tend to be on the simpler side. But on the more complicated side, people treat rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune issues, all sorts of there are forms of cancer that is looked at and treated through Ayurveda as well.
Okay. So at what point do you advise that people seek Western intervention?
So at what time do I say, okay, so that's actually a very personal thing. I do believe that if you have faith in the philosophy, Ayurveda, oh, now I don't want to be held, I don't want to be held accountable of saying something like this. So let me actually say that what I am giving you, what opinions I am giving you are personal to me. Okay. And even the information that I give you is general information. If someone has anything specific, let them contact me. I'm happy to speak to them or give them some advice. But generally speaking, it depends on how much faith you have in a philosophy. Today, when you go and see a doctor, do you believe everything that the doctor tells you? And well, there you go. And do you also believe every doctor you speak to? You will probably have faith in one doctor versus the other. So I think this is the same thing. It also depends on how much faith you have in the philosophy and how much it resonates with you. For me, this makes complete sense. It makes complete sense to me. So I have full faith in the philosophy, and in fact, I have healed myself through Ayurveda. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune issue, and through Ayurveda and naturopathy, I have reversed my numbers, and I am normal and healthy at the moment.
That's good. So, dear listeners, we've been speaking with Suchita Vaswani. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Absolutely.
So guys, feel free to drop your comments, your questions, whatever it is, contribution you want to make in this conversation. We'll continue with the next question. How exactly does Ayurvedic medicine impact on our immune system? This is the major thing we're here for.
Okay, so how does Ayurvedic medicine impact on our immune system? So basically, again, by my opinion, allopathic and Western medicine has failed us at the moment, because it has not been able to find us a cure for corona. We still don't know what it is that we are doing. We are still going round and round trying this vaccine and that drug. And so while we are waiting for them to come out with the answer, what is the most obvious thing? Prevention and immunity building, right? Now, based on being in Nigeria itself, you have some of the most amazing immune building drugs. Well, in this case, it's herbs that are growing in our back gardens over here. So Ayurveda and your Nigerian herbal medicine, for example, have overlap. So let me tell you, there are two herbs. Now, please forgive my pronunciation over here, but Dogon Yarrow. You know the herb Dogon Yarrow?
Yes, I do.
See. So Dogon Yarrow is a herb that we call neem. Okay, in Ayurveda, it's called neem. It is a bitter herb, and they say that for immunity build-up and to actually keep illness away from the body, there has to be an element of bitter herb that goes into the body. So Dogon Yarrow is one of them. The other one is, in English, they call it Philanthus neruri. In Hindi, they call it Bui Amla. But in Yoruba, they call it, now you're going to laugh at me, Ein Olobe. Ein Olobe. But you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
right?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
So those two herbs are actually herbs that overlap. So those two, according to us, are Ayurvedic herbs, and they are both preventatives. They will both boost your immunity. So if either of those are taken in any form, so these are both medicinal plants. So those can be taken in any form at all. So you can use the flowers, the fruit, the leaves, the roots, any of those. So you can concoct it as simply as boiling the leaves and drinking the water. You can use the leaves and crush them with a pestle and mortar and make a little ball from it and eat that. And we know they're a bit bitter, okay? I will give you that. It's granted, it's a bit bitter. But don't get the temptation of drink a glass of water straight after. I think what you do is you take that bitter herb and take a little bit of local honey. Any kind of locally sourced honey will change the taste and will counter the bitter taste with sweet, which actually will even help you further because you are balancing those tastes within your body. If you take too much bitter, it's likely that you will cause a problem within your system. You need to balance that too.
Okay, so let's talk about gastrointestinal issues. If anyone,
now you're springing questions on me.
we just have to get as much as possible from you. You are a guru in your field, and we are here to learn.
I am far from a guru in my field. I still have a lot to learn, but I'm happy to share what I know. And if I can't answer, I will tell you I can't answer.
Now you're sounding very humble. Well, thank you so much. I'm happy to learn, and I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way too. So how do you, if a patient is having gastrointestinal issues and it's proven resistant to pharmacy drugs, how would you go about it using the Ayurvedic?
So, Kemi, let me tell you something. Gastrointestinal issues come from a whole host of different things. And I'm really glad you brought this up because it's a very interesting subject. So, not only in Ayurveda, but now in natural medicine as well, you will have heard people say that we have two brains. One brain is in our head, the other brain is in our gut. Okay? So, the brain in your gut gives you information constantly. And you know, when we are dealing with emotions such as we have been right now, which is a little bit of fear and a little bit of stress and a little bit of anxiety, your gut will also give you that message. So this I'm again speaking quite generally because you haven't given me you've just said gastrointestinal issues. I've brought this up. If you can give me something specific, like if you can say to me that a person is struggling to eliminate or go to the toilet, or the person is suffering bloating, or I can give you more information. But let me tell you, with this, keeping the gut clean and clear is probably one of the most important things at this point in time, because what you are doing is you are storing unwanted toxins in your gut, and that is causing problems with your colon. I mean, it could also be a whole host of different things. It could be the kind of food combinations that you are putting together. It could be the food that you're eating for your body type, because there are specific body types in Ayurveda, and there are certain foods that tend to aggravate air in the system, or aggravate heat in the system, or aggravate mucus in the system. So it really depends. I need a little more information from you before I can answer that specifically. So if you know someone with gastrointestinal issues that needs help, please ask them to contact me. I'm happy to help.
Okay, so let's take constipation for example.
That's a big one, constipation. Constipation is a huge one. In fact, I'm quite surprised at the amount of people that are constipated. And it's something that is so regular. So Ayurveda says that the very first thing you do before addressing any kind of illness in the body is to correct constipation. Now, the reason for this is, so my teacher, when I was studying, my teacher gave me this example, which I will give to you. We are all nothing but tapeworms. Okay, so what is a tapeworm? A tapeworm is someone, there's a place where the food goes in and a place where the food comes out, and then you have a tract in between. And that's what we are supposed to do. We are supposed to take food in, and the waste comes out the other end. Whatever you need to be digested should be digested, and whatever you need to be eliminated should be eliminated. The problem comes when the food is not digested and it is not eliminated. There's something called, there's the Indian word for it, which we call ama, that is extra toxins in the system, which cause problems all over the body. However, with constipation, it usually comes from your body being too dry. So you don't have enough lubrication in your passages for the waste to be eliminated. So what it means is that there's a lot of dryness in the body. You will probably find that someone who is constipated will have dry skin. They will have dry hair. They will have a problem with cold hands and cold feet. You know, that their circulation is not so great. And this can be looked after very simply by adding added good fats into your system. We have a beautiful substance called ghee, which we use, and ghee is clarified butter. So ghee is for us is the answer to a whole lot of problems, because what that does is allow added good fat. I add, okay, it's not just fat in general, it's good fat into the system, which allows our body to be lubricated enough so that the waste is able to pass through and be eliminated. Have I answered your question?
Yes. So for people who are suffering from constipation, please take lots of water and take good lipids, good form of fats,
Yes.
oily food
Yes.
that is healthy.
Yes.
Because if you are constipated, you're most likely going to be seeing signs such as dry hair, dry skin, constant thirst, right? This is good. Good insight.
I mean, yeah. It's, and you will find that the minute you are suffering with dry skin and dry hair, or more even than dry hair, you may not notice the dry hair immediately. You will notice the lack of circulation. So your hands and your feet will get a little bit colder. Your body is not circulating properly, and that also is a sign that there's dryness in the system.
Okay. So my next question is related to the pandemic we're facing right now. Yeah. COVID-19 has destabilized everyone, every country, but we'll find a way out. We'll survive this together. How do you think that Ayurvedic medicine can impact health during this period of COVID-19? Some people might want to consider it,
Okay, so Ayurvedic medicine, I will answer that in due course. But let me tell you some great preventatives, okay? Some great immunity builders for you, especially at this time of COVID. So just for your knowledge, COVID attacks this part of the body, right? From the throat to the chest, right? All this part of the body is where you get the maximum attack of COVID. And that is because there's a mucus buildup in this part of the body. The minute you have a mucus buildup, you're going to have a problem. So the first and most important thing to do is make sure there's no mucus buildup or kata, as you'll call it, in the system in that area. So you need to avoid things. You have to make sure that you have no water retention in your body. So do you get, or do you know of pink salt versus white salt? People use pink salt, right? Pink salt. So salt that we use to season our food, you get pink salt, and that actually helps with water retention and weight loss. So using pink salt in your food is one way to get rid of water retention. The other thing is to stop drinking cold liquids. So things like ice cold Coke, ice water, all those things you need to stop, because you need to keep this area as warm and moist as you possibly can. If you drink anything cold, yes, someone has said Himalayan salt. Yes, that's exactly right. Himalayan salt. That's what you need to try and gargle with and to put it in your food. Gargle with hot water, salt, and turmeric to get on a daily basis. Now, turmeric is something that you get here easily. So you put a pinch of turmeric and a pinch of salt and hot water, and you gargle your throat regularly. Yeah. You do a steam inhalation regularly as well. That will open up all your sinuses. Make sure that all your sinuses are absolutely clear. Yeah. And the last one is actually, it's a tip that I picked up from one of the live chats that I did with someone, a lady who is an Ayurvedic practitioner herself, and she said that you should take 1 teaspoon of raw, organic, locally sourced honey. So honey that is local to the area. in that you put half a teaspoon of grated ginger, a pinch of turmeric, and a pinch of black pepper. And this is something that you should have on a daily basis. In fact, even twice a day. You make a paste of it and lick it from the spoon. So you do not put the honey in hot water, or you just lick it, take it straight from the spoon. And these are all Ayurvedic, technically, preventatives and things that will look after you, and it will build your immunity. Yeah. Along with that, I posted personally on a few other things this morning. One was something that I don't know whether it grows easily over here, but it's something called amla, which is an Indian gooseberry. And what the Ayurvedic practitioners do is they actually cook it, and they add 30 or 40 different herbs to it, and it comes out looking like a jam. It's called Chavanprash. Okay, so if anyone wants it, I have it over here. I sell it over here for the people that I look after. That has 3,000 times more vitamin C in 1 spoon than an orange.
Wow.
So if you take if you take one teaspoon of it, you have that much more vitamin C in your body. Okay, that is the first thing. The second thing I spoke about today was tulsi, which is technically speaking, according to Indians, it is an Indian herb, but again, it grows in abundance over here, and they call it holy basil. You know the plant, holy basil? It's available over here quite easily and all over the place. And what you do is you take the leaves from that and you boil it to make a tea. And you drink that tea regularly. And actually, tulsi is one of the best herbs to look after the respiratory system. Okay? And then, of course, the other two that we spoke about, which was Philanthus naruri, which was, oh my goodness, Olobe, and Dogonyaro, which are both, so these two are also easily accessible and available here. And all the combination of all these, and even if you can do one or two, even if you can't do all of them, will definitely help you. These will all help to build your immunity.
Nature has been kind to humanity.
It has. That's actually a lovely way to put it, because nature will heal us if we allow it to.
All right, so we are interested in you. What have you been doing until you entered Ayurvedic medicine?
Oh wow. Okay, so like I said, I have lived and worked in Lagos. I was born here. I have been here pretty much all my life. I have done many different things, though. Initially, I was one of the co-founders of the Children's International School here in Lekki. After that, I started a fashion retail store called Style Story, which is on 17B Musayadua, which I am literally just contemplating shutting down. But aside from that, I own a yoga studio called Yoga Sutra. And my interest in Ayurveda actually came in conjunction with that yoga studio, because yoga and Ayurveda are sister sciences. So once we owned the studio, it just seemed like natural progression. And I was actually looking for something to heal myself naturally when I fell ill. So this seemed the most obvious.
I'm happy you found a strong passion for it.
Oh, well, yes. Yes, and
yeah.
But it's a lot of research, it's a lot of hard work, but the good thing is I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
Okay, so guys, you heard it all. We still have one or two things to talk about before we draw the curtains on this conversation. All right, so what has been your greatest success story in this journey of Ayurvedic medicine?
What has been my greatest success story? Well, people who I help will think that they're all my greatest success stories, because I've been able to help so many people. I honestly really appreciate that you guys are having me on a platform like this. It's really nice to be able to spread the word a little bit. But I have helped people. I've helped people who are suffering from constipation hugely. That seems to be a big one. People keep coming to me for. I've helped children who are suffering with eczema and psoriasis. I've helped adults who are suffering quite severely with acidity. We've done weight loss. We've done hair repair, a lot of hair work with hair and skin. What else? I'm just trying to think. I have been running a weight loss program. One of my clients told me today she's lost in total, I think it's 9 kilos since she started with me. So yeah, we're generally doing quite well.
Okay, so before we go, let's take one or two questions from our listeners. Andrews Kamlani is asking, is there any herb that is good for your hair and skin?
Yes, absolutely. There is a herb called Brahmi, which is very good for the hair and skin. And more than a herb, what is good is the Ayurvedic oils. So there's an Ayurvedic oil that you apply on your hair called Brahmi Amla oil, which is actually very, very good for the hair. And we also have Ayurvedic shampoos that work a bit like relaxants for the hair. So, a lot of people have been using petroleum jelly for the relaxing of their hair. Now, petroleum jelly is actually made from petrol, which is not good for your body at all. In fact, in the West, they're removing it from the shelves. So there are Ayurvedic shampoos which have relaxers in it. So, your hair texture becomes a little bit softer and finer as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Noah. So, any last words?
Any last words? Keep healthy, keep happy, look after your immunity. That's the most important, because right now that's all we have. We only have our immunity. It's very, very important for that. Oh my goodness, suddenly lots of questions.
Yeah, somebody's asking about stomach ulcers, acid reflux, and constipation is such a common one. So
is there any natural treatment for some stomach ulcers? There are plenty, but with stomach ulcers, I think the first thing you need to do is look at your lifestyle. You need to look at the foods you're consuming, and make sure that you reduce the food that produces too much heat in your system. Please, if you want, message me, join my Instagram. You can message me DM. I'll see what I can do for you if I can help at all. Acid reflux, it's very similar. It's you have to be careful of the kind of heating foods that you're putting in your system. You need to reduce. Both stomach ulcers and acid reflux come from excess heat in the system, so you need to be very careful of that. Whereas constipation tends to come from too much air in the system. So you're going from one extreme to the other. And a lot of people have that issue where either they are feeding themselves with food that is too cooling and too drying for the system, or too heating for the system. So you have to find a balance. What about weight gain? Depends on what kind of weight gain, my friend. Is it weight gain from you're sitting too sedentary for too long? Is it weight gain from emotions? You are nervous, you are frightened, or is it weight gain from hormones? All the 3 different types of weight gain, you treat each one differently. So you'll need to come back to me on that and tell me what kind of weight gain before I can help you.
Okay, thank you so much.